Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic, and welcome to this deep woo-woo episode entitled The Quantum Woo with MARYAM HENEIN and May LEVY. Let me first welcome my co-host, MARYAM. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here with you.
You can find her, of course, at honeycolony.com. And our guest for this evening, return guest from last week, which is a phenomenal episode. It's May LEVY, and you can find her at deepintuitivehealing.com. Let's give her a big warm welcome. May, welcome back.
Hello. It's good to be here again.
Good to have you guys. And first of all, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us and waiting. I apologize for the delay. Again, we were having these weird microphone issues as we were trying to go live, and we couldn't even hear each other speak. So we had to resolve that before we jumped into the queue. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us and for waiting. I do apologize for that. Let's have an amazing show. But before we start, May, why don't you give us an update as to what the hell happened last week after our first inaugural episode? How was your life?
I have to hold my heart to express this. Oh my God, I got so much love. Thank you for everyone who reached out and has been booking sessions with me and been super patient for me to get back to them, because logistically, I'm just learning how to do this, and was praying for a secretary, and one of the clients was really stepping in to be like, I can help you out. Her name is Angela. Thank you, Angela. Yeah, just from, I'm doing like 3 to 4 sessions a day now and trying to navigate also my life, and just grocery shopping became a luxury. So interesting stepping into my mission this way, but I'm super, super grateful and really happy to help people. And I had a guy call me from South Korea. I picked up my phone and saw South Korea, and I was like, whoa, this is cool.
We have viewers from all around the world, and I have to tell
amazing.
You, we have an amazing really community, and they want to support people who are doing the work. And the frequency you brought to the show the other day really resonated with them. I got tons of emails, tons of Twitter posts. Like, it was just like, it was nonstop for 2 days. Bring May back. I'm like, I know. I just asked her. Don't worry, she's coming back.
Yay.
So thank you so much, everyone, for supporting May. That's absolutely amazing. And May, you just said something that's interesting here too, because you were shy to come on the show, putting yourself out there. You're trying to walk into your mission, and now suddenly your life just changed for the better, like magnitudes forward. So maybe express what that feels like, first having the trepidation and then having the validation from the community, because a lot of people watching this show are also on that trampoline, just about to jump into their life mission, and they might have some hesitation still. So speak about that experience a little bit.
So I can say that my biggest tool in confidence and not being afraid, and really just, we have so much history with witches being burned at the stake and all that stuff, like we carry that in our soul, and we have to clear those things. Mm-hmm. So for me, I feel like what really was my biggest tool was theta healing, because you can go and inwards in, like I said, all the 4 levels of the core of the beliefs in our conscious and subconscious mind, and erase them and download, like, to feel stability and safe to express our things. And I've had this limiting belief that if I put my art out there, it might get stolen, or somebody will do something with the art. And I released it, and my teacher was like, it's not, you're creating it, you're getting a gift, and just put it out there. Like, it's for everyone to be, it's shared. And we did a work on that. We did a whole session just on that, on my art, and like just sharing it. And the next day I just started creating nonstop, and just putting and posting and creating it on clothes. And just, yeah, I think it's, for me, the biggest tool was theta healing. And I think that when we are our authentic self, we can inspire everyone else to bring out their magic. And we need magic in this world. We need like, I always tell my friends, you should learn theta, and you should learn theta. We should make like this big magical like vortex, and we can all like heal the world together and bring the rain.
Bring the rain.
Bring the rain.
We'll talk about the rain in a moment here, so don't let me forget about that. MARYAM, what's your experience here with May, and what are your feelings after this crazy last week in transformational work, both for you and for May here?
Well, I knew this was going to happen. So I tried to tell May, but so it's beautiful to be like, you're ready, like, to help with that initiation of like I said last week, to just, it's honored to be able to share and resonate, because I knew that there were people out there who who would be receptive. And so as for my activation of, we were talking, Jean-Claude, about wearing multiple hats. And I think one of the problems is I do so many different things, and it's hard to classify my versatility because you have to be able to frame it. So what the word was to frame, and I want to thank Meme because we're doing clearing, and I look forward to doing some theta healing. And I really believe that if you're on a spiritual path, that it is all about deleting these self-limiting beliefs and these programs. Like I gave up shaking hands, and I'm like, I'm gonna hug. I don't jive with this program. So that it's all about that. So the theta healing is I look forward to doing that with you, Meme. And so for me, I went and I had, if I can just share this, of wanting to reframe myself and say, get back into this world, because digesting this meta in this information. So I got some cards, and, I used to have an altar, but I'm not in my home. So just like inviting and re-stepping into that, and realizing also with the help of Meme that when I sit here and I ask to be in service, and that I channel, and you can see when you listen to me sharing that there's not a lot of ums. If I am channeling, it's just straight sentences. And you could look at Jen, and there's a lot of ums. So when you're channeling and you're just moving out of the way and allowing spirit. And so I want to cultivate those gifts. And I believe that Meme is helping me be a vessel to be able to handle that. I mean, I have another friend who does channeling, and it's really triggering her fibromyalgia. And so I was telling Meme during the week, when she'd text me, you have to pace yourself and realize. And I really do believe, I pulled a card of Amrit and Nectar. And I really do believe that if you're aligned and doing God's work, that you'll have a lot of energy no matter what, as opposed to depleting. But we have to learn how to navigate that. So anyway, I just thank this kind of stepping into wisdom and realizing that I'm being asked to be a bigger vessel to hold those gifts. And so I think a lot of people can resonate because they want to focus on the light. We need more magic. We need more fun. Thanks.
Right. And I for one, have to say to the audience too, when I heard Maryam's voice the first time, just the frequency, I just knew right away that we needed to do work together, that we were connected somehow, and that eventually our paths would cross and we would do something very important. And last year we were focused on, the elections and stuff like that, which was important. But I always knew Maryam had a bigger role in all of this. What it was specifically, I wasn't sure, but this is why I came up with this image of the shaman here for the quantum woo. And I think Maryam is just now also maybe stepping back into that. I know she's been very busy with her books and all of the, again, the reporting, because she's an investigative reporter, but she's much, much, much more than that. And I hope that you guys through the series here can help me showcase that.
Thank you, Jean-Claude. I think it's basically got too swept up in the third plane, and there's so many other realms to operate in. Magic does exist, and we need to replace Satanism back with sacredness, and people like Meme that are doing just purifying. We need that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Absolutely. And folks, you can see my previous show with Maryam was Raw Naked Truth. And there was a reason it was raw, because Maryam is very raw. When she tells you how she feels, it comes out loud and clear. And she's very passionate about everything she does. I just absolutely love both of the women on the show here tonight. And thank you again, everyone, for your amazing support. Okay, as we get started here, we talked about the rain. We need to make it rain. So 2 things. I thought today what we could do is have an activation at the early set of our show, and then we'll have this conversation about sacred sex, the sacred prostitute, and how all that ties into what both of these young, amazing women were just talking about now, which is raising our frequency and also limiting deleting all of those self-limiting programs. So we'll get to that a little in the later part of the show. But first, we're going to ask May again for an activation session. And May, what is your focus here too? There's 2 folds. 1, set the intentions for this episode for the audience. And 2, the specific prayer that is located right now on your Instagram. Set the stage for that, May.
So set intention for the whole show today. I think that what MARYAM was talking about activating our highest potential and being inspired to really step up into our mission without any fear or without any like, what are they going to think? And just show up with everything that you are and allow yourself to be seen. So if this show can inspire to do that, then we're going to live in a better world for sure. So that one, I think that's what I'm going to set intention for the whole show. And as far as for an activation, I've been waking up every day to smoke outside. I live in Nevada City, and we have every day there's a fire breaking out, another fire breaking out, another fire breaking out, and thousands of trees are being burnt down. And so if I am going to do an activation, I would call in the rain. I'm also going to share that just before the show, I channeled a prayer. You can show it on my Instagram. It's for the rain. There's instructions on what to do. It's very simple. You can print it out, put it next to an altar. If you don't have an altar, you can put it next to your window and just sit next to it for 3 minutes in prayer and just call in the rain. And when you're done with whatever prayer you're saying, if you can put intention to the land of California, that would be great. But you can also use it collectively for wherever there's fires in the world. And then when you're done with your prayer that you say in your heart, you say 3 times, it is done, it is done, it is done.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow,
thank
that's
you.
beautiful. These symbols.
It's a
Absolutely.
prayer. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And thank you for setting the stage or the intention for this episode as well. This is what my channel is all about. So I'm totally in line with what you just said.
Step
So
into
thank you so much.
mission.
Yeah,
Go for
step
it.
into the mission. Yeah, awesome. So folks watching us live now, if you're just tuning in and you haven't seen the last show, maybe start there. You'll get an understanding as to what May is proposing here with her frequency, how she does these activations. And if you want to stay here, please, maybe for the next couple of minutes here, we'll probably be around 10 minutes into this activation. I'm going to ask you to maybe keep the chatter to a very minimum here in the chat so that we can focus on May's energy and what she's transmitting. So thank you everyone for collaborating and cooperating with that. Thank you, I appreciate that. So May, anytime you're ready, let us know what you need.
I'm going to go get my shaker.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. All right.
A
I'm
shaker?
excited for this one. A shaker? Like,
Oh yeah. Nice.
I love it.
Ta-da. Really quick. Okay.
All right.
I don't know what will come up, but so
Oh yeah, you
10
need the
minutes.
shaker for rain.
Let's do 12 minutes so I can just call in the angels and come in from there, okay?
You want to
So
do 12? Okay.
Let's
no
do
problem.
12 so I just tap into bring the angels around us and then I'll start.
Okay. And do you want me to give you the 1 minute warning like last time?
Yes, please.
That works? Okay.
Yes.
So 12 minutes from here. All right. Sounds good.
Okay. So everybody is welcome, invited to close their eyes and start taking gentle breaths through the nose. Bringing the breath from the nose to the third eye, all the way to the crown. Activating the receptors to source, the antennas to the creator. Allowing the creator to work through your vessel with this activation. Take another deep breath through the nose, bringing the breath to the third eye, setting intention in your crown for the activation, what you're calling in, what you would like to receive. Saying prayer for California, for the lands of California, to bring the rains, to save the trees and the animals that are being hurt and burnt down. You can let go and then take another deep breath through the nose. And then with your next breath, I want you to bring the breath through the heart, down to your feet, down to the soles of the feet. And I want you to imagine roots growing out of the soles of the feet, stretching in the room where you are, cracking a hole in the floor, and stretching down to the core of the earth. Soaking up her knowledge, her information, her infinite wisdom, her love, her stability. Pay attention to the temperature. Pay attention to the heat, the warmth, the pressure. And then bring all that energy back through the roots, back to the soles of your feet. Activating and bringing that energy through your legs, through your hips. Back, illuminating chakra by chakra, all the way back, one by one, to the crown. I call in angels of the heavens and angels of the earth to come take stand around us. I call in angels of the north and angels of the south, angels of the east and angels of the west, to come stand around us. Everyone who's watching, in our own vortex, creating a protection layer of love and light and armor. May you triple that layer and imagine white iridescent light circling our vortex together. Creator of all that is, I command to bring down an activation for the land of California, for the earth and the sky to bring the rain. It is done. It is done. It is done. Tuka ya 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 ya. Ho wa ya 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 ya. Ho wa wa ya na o a u a su ya ta I wa. Ho ya 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 ya. Ya 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 ya. Ho mama hiana sua, hoka hiana sua, hoka kiana hua wahiana sua, ho hua ya ya suya tahiwa. Ho mama hiana sua hiwa, hoka kiana sua hiwa, ho wa wahiana haya ya sua. Ho mama hiana, hoka kiata suya tahiana nawa. Ho ya 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 ho wa hiana 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 ho wa hiana suyata hiya ha. Oh mama hiana nasuyata ka iana ya mama hiana nasuyata yata takayana iana na wahayana hiana nasuwa. Oh ya 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 ya. Oh mama hiana nasuyata takayana iana na wahiana wahiana. Oh wahiana. Suyana iana iana. Oh ya 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 ma. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Homma, homma hiana, homma mahiana, homma mahia hia hia ya, hoya ya hoyana, hoya ya hioa, hoa wa hia ya, homma, homma, homma hiana, sua hiana, owa ya asu ya ta I ima a I iwa. Rama asuyata takahiana ya mama wa ayana na iana na suyata I ho wa hiana suyata kahiana ya mama hiana umama iana ho ya Hoahiana, 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 Hiana, Hiana. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oi, ai, amai, amai, oh. Oh ya 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 ho mama tu ya tataka hiana ya ya. Oh ya 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 ya. Oh wa wa ya 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 ya. Oh yeah, 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 ma. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh mama hiana uwawa. Oh mahiana. Tuyata iwa asua. Oh mama hiana nasuyata takayana iana nasuyata takayana iwa. Hokakiata kasua haya 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 iwa. Hokayana iwa hasua. Hoa wahiana suwa 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 suwa. Oh ya na nasuyata takahiana o haya haya hai suyata iwa. Tumiana nasua ayana ayana iwa hayata kahiana asua iwa hayana.
One minute remains.
May all the light codes be integrated easily and effortlessly with no healing crisis for the planet or for anyone else. We may all tap in back into our bodies, wiggle our toes, wiggle our fingers. We can put our hands in prayer in front of the heart and bow to our heart and thank Spirit for coming through with a prayer. Thank you so much for listening and being here and showing up to do the work for yourselves, for others. You can put the hands in prayer above your third eye, bowing to yourself and to your power and to your psychic abilities and welcoming them back in to remember in your vessel, so you can do the work as well and be here in any shape and form that you can perform and share. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It is done. It is done. It is done. Whoa.
Wow. Merci beaucoup, May. Thank you so much, May. Yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining and sharing that energy with us. Of course, we're sending rain to much needed rain to California in that intention. And we also helping anybody watching this broadcast either now or in the ether, as we are repeating here in the ether, giving them energy to step into their mission. That was the twofold intention for that activation. So thank you so much. Molly says, I'm crying. Yeah, there was a lot there. There was a lot there, I have to tell you. Colleen says, love you, Maryam, May, and Jean-Claude. Merci beaucoup. I appreciate that. I really felt as soon as you started with the roots coming out of the feet, boom, I was connected. I was like linked into you. And somebody on the screen was saying, notice how you were going in circles. I could feel that motion as well. I forget who it was. Ben was saying that, the circular movement. Do you want to speak to that a little bit? Did you notice you were in that movement, May? And maybe explain to the audience why?
The movement is the energy of the Kundalini. It's always circular. And when I'm activated, it just does that. Everything is always circular. And so when I'm extremely activated, that's when I start moving. It happens also in meditation, but that's the natural state of our life force. Mm-hmm. And not only of our bodies, but the earth and the planetary system. Everything goes around in circles. The planets, the sun, the moon. So that's the natural state. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So
I love the comments in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. Everybody says, oh, wow, very powerful. Shauna Marie says, thank you. Was dancing around my garden pyramid here in California while you were singing. Awesome. That's great. Can you imagine like the impact that we have? Like you could just feel that wave, like that chocolate go through. Yeah. Maryam, how about you? What are your thoughts?
It's not very often, right, when you get the shivers, and I've gotten a lot of shivers around Maymay or listening to Maymay. So I was trying to feel what was activating, because I feel a lot of tingly. So the whistling is for me this motion of the Kundalini, and I like was doing this, like I've taken Reiki, but I found myself activating my hand chakras, but I was doing, what is this chokri? The
chakra?
Yeah. So I felt that the Kundalini was, I just was kind of receiving and feeling. And then before I'm like, oh, I thought it was cold. I'm cold. I'm like, oh, I'm about to get warmed up soon because we're gonna release some Kundalini.
Awesome. Folks, if you have any questions for May or for Maryam, put them in the chat right now. Put them in high caps. We'll try to get to them before we get to our next topics. And it leads into this Kundalini activation also, actually. So May, while we wait for some questions maybe to pop up from you, what's the energy you're displaying now?
I'm still landing. That was really strong. Even like I find when I do big collective like activations, it's just so much more stronger than a regular session. It just takes over and full on, and it's just full force. And it almost like there was new things that came out. I've never done the whistling in the hands, and I feel like that was like the symbol for me. Could be something different, but for me it was like symbolic for the rain. And there was one point where I was doing and I feel like that was like blowing out the fire, and just the whistling was very new. I don't think I've done that before.
You've done whistling before,
but not like that.
No, not like that. But
no, I do whistling often, but this was different.
Yeah, you had a different signal there for a while. I was paying into it. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
It was also from the little 3 sessions that I've heard you, that it was faster. And when you had said you do light language, my reference was many years ago somewhere in LA, a very tall woman who was speaking in a very staccato, high, like dolphin. And so that I felt this time that you were speaking quicker incantation.
That happens.
Do you feel that?
Yeah. That happens. It's just, it does happen often. It depends what I'm doing. Like I'll get into these modes where it's like so fast that I think it's just rapid activation. And I wonder if it's faster because it's working on higher chakras, because when you, the more you go up to work on this area, let's say in the body, I don't know about the rain activation right now, but when you go and work on this area, like the tones are higher.
Yeah,
the tones are higher. The throat singing is higher, and the more you work on the lower chakras, the toning is lower.
Right.
And so I feel like, so sometimes when I work on this area, sometimes the talking is faster. The pitch is faster.
Yeah. The pitch was, a lot faster this time around. And you have to notice, too, you said, when I do group activations, the energy is stronger. And I think you may not realize yet, everybody who's watching the show, like there's a lot of strong energy people who watch this show. So when they all come together and support in any of these activations, it's always absolutely amazing. So again, a big thank you to the audience for supporting us. And Mimi, will the meditation work later? Yes, of course. There is no time. So whether it's later, before, or right now, it's all at the same time.
You didn't miss it.
You didn't miss anything, but you feel free to watch it again and tune into some of the subtle frequency changes that May was exhibiting during that activation, and see what it means to you. And maybe write it down, take a notepad. That might help you as well, because the next question here is, what does Kundalini activation feel like? From Molly. I'll let you tackle that one, May.
What does it feel like when it... the question could be 2 things, like how does it feel to be awakened, or how does it feel to be like awakened?
Let's presume that that's what they mean. The first one here.
How do you know if it's activated?
Right. Or how does it feel maybe the first time you have an activation? Otherwise, they probably wouldn't be asking that question.
Something will move you physically. There's an energy within you that will wake up, and it will voluntarily move your body. Well, voluntarily, it will move your body. You can put awareness and make it stop, but if you let go of that awareness, it will continue doing its thing, and it's very much alive. And once it's awake, you'll know. There's no question.
No, you can't miss it. A lot of people, and for myself included, it felt like a big snake uncoiling inside my body.
Like,
I was like, what's going on? It's really unsettling, because you're like, what's moving? Like, nothing's moving. I'm standing still in this meditation, but inside there is this huge, like, it just feels like this huge uncoiling, if you want to, I guess.
To unleash.
And it's different for everyone, I think. Yeah. But I can say for me, there's no doubt, because and I do agree, some people do experience different things in different stages of the awakening as well.
Brian.
Yeah.
Okay. You brought me to immediate meditation with your voice. Thank you. Whirling. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that too. Okay. Let me see if I can find a few more.
Whirling is a good word, because also I think of the Sufis, the twirling. What is it? The Sufis, that it's like this kind of energy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Jim says, I love your earrings. Super cool. They kind of look like the Star Trek logo. If you turn them around, it looks like the Star Trek logo.
It's the galactic lamb necklace.
And your nail polish. Don't forget the nail polish.
I nail polish this time. I'm doing a good job being human, kind of. 3D.
Kind of.
My 3D self.
Oh my God. And Starlight says, wait, it just came off the screen. Okay, this light language is resonating with me big time. Thank you so much. Well, thank you. Absolutely amazing. Okay, let's get into our topic for tonight. Again, thank you, folks, for bearing with us here and supporting us in this meditation and setting intention here for the audience and for everybody else who's watching and listening in the ether about stepping into their mission. So to set the stage for this, Maryam, we kind of touched upon this last week at the end of the show, and you said, hey, I have something to say about that. I'm like, all right, let's do a second show on this. And it's the concept of the sacred prostitute and what that means, what it meant, and what it means today, and the people who are activating to that archetype today. So let's set the stage for that a little bit for the audience, Maryam, and maybe share your experience with that.
And maybe not having studied this yourself, Jean-Claude, because maybe I'm not familiar. Yeah, I would like to hear what you have to say. I said, sorry, I'm hearing feedback.
You sound good from here.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's weird. It happens right in the middle of the show. So anyways, keep going, Maryam.
Sorry, it was very distracting. Okay, so with the sacred prostitute, it was the first time that I've shared it office in this capacity. And it was just, these women were revered. They were intelligent, they were healing, and men would go there to confide secrets with me, and I would get to pick who it is that I wanted to be with. That's something that I know and that I see, that I had a little window. I see it somewhere in France. I don't know if it's like 13th century or whatever, but I open up and I see who the person is. And maybe it's someone I hadn't seen since battle or something, and they were coming for healing. But definitely, these women were not looked as sluts. And I say the example of what makes the difference between a hoe on Hollywood and Normandy and a high-end escort. It's the way you see yourself, right? First and foremost, of how you put value on yourself. And back in the day, these sacred prostitutes would be healing through, like, think of a sexual surrogate, which can be in today's age a man or a woman or another pronoun, I guess. So they were revered, and it wasn't looked down upon. So that's what comes to me.
Okay, very good. Let me bring down the link to a PDF, and this is from the works of Carrie Ryan. So I do want to give her credit for that and send people her way to her website where you can find this PDF here. So I've just put that in the chat now. So if you guys want to go, sorry, I'm scrolling in front of you here. I don't want to make you dizzy. Hold on a second here. I'll get back to the top of that page. If you guys want to go and read that, Maryam has just set the stage to it here. So we kind of talked about it last time, where this energy was sought after in terms of healing. It was really about healing people, and especially healing the wounded masculine after war. And so removing whatever it was that broke their psyche during the war times would be accomplished through different techniques here, using Kundalini, some of the activations, and very possibly a lot of the toning and the frequencies that May is using today. So when we talked about that last week and I heard her for this the first time, I was like, oh. And then you mentioned spontaneously going into that frequency with one of your clients. Then I realized awakening yourself to the archetype, this divine feminine archetype. So maybe for the audience who haven't heard the first show, maybe recap a little bit here your experience in healing work with your clients, but then get into that.
You're cutting up for me.
I can't hear any.
Yeah, Jean-Claude.
Healing. We're losing the whole connection. I have. Oh, we're back.
Are we back?
Okay. Hey, do I repeat all the work? We still have a very, very poor connection. Something up here.
Yeah,
Hold
your
on.
connection is no good. I want to say that the sacred sex, the sacred prostitute, is also dancing, and the fact that we're both dancers, and so holding back in the day, let's say the bee goddesses, for instance, or a sacred prostitute. You can hear me, right? Maybe.
Yes, I can hear you. We're here. We're here.
So the dancing was a part of it, and if you're a dancer, because if music comes on, you have no choice. The music moves you. Those people who say that they're dancers but they're not, they're sitting down. Meh.
Ever since I've been channeling light language, the dance has been going, like, it's even taking over my dance, because I do go to dance twice a week, and there's a lot of the movements in my hand are starting to come out. It's like an activating light through my hands as I'm moving my body as well. So maybe that's also part of it.
I think so. I mean, I do that. I do a lot of I'm just really communing, and it's a very sacred to hold the space and channel, commune with spirit. The music is moving me. Spirit is moving me.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, I think I'm back. What I can
Yes.
see from my meter, I seem to have full connection now. Hopefully it continues, but we've been having thunderstorms and weird temperature for the last 2 days here, so it could be that. 5x5 just echo, says Ronnie. Hopefully everything is okay now. Do I need to repeat where I was at, or did enough come through that you guys understood? I was asking May basically to recall her last experience of doing healing work and then being triggered herself, or guided herself to use some of that Kundalini energy in the healing process.
It's almost every session really, but I would talk to the subject that you're talking about, the sacred prostitute, just without the prostitution, really. I think I mentioned this last show that I did a light language circle for men. But when I offered the service, I didn't know what to expect. I was like, okay, I'm going to do like this cow ceremony to open the heart. This was like the intention of the circle was for men to open the heart, to let go, because I feel like a lot of our conditioning for the masculine has been, the lower chakras have been activated and the upper chakras have been more blocked, because it's always been like survival, right? Army, military, work, sex, it's all down there. And so we can meet our divine feminine and be in a more heartfelt place, then we have to release the energy from down there to make space, and from the heart to make space, so the energy and the prana can flow properly and activate the divine masculine. So that was my intention. So I did a cacao ceremony to open up the heart. Cacao is an activator for the heart with prayer, and we did that. We set intentions in the altar in the center, and then I did soul restoration for each one individually. And I did that through light language, theta healing and light language. So I went through the 7th plane and I released for each and every one of them. And a lot of energy entities, whatever you want to call it, started to come out. And then after we did that, it took about an hour. I did this. I asked all the men to lie down, and I started channeling for them for a few hours, and I worked on each one individually. So in a way, I mean, I guess you can use different ways to release energy. Sex is one of them. There is the sexual part of it, but that's not what I did. And the light language was used to purify. And I really understood it the most in that circle, because the men, there was one guy that was hissing. I asked him to release whatever he was feeling, and he started hissing. And I knew it was like an energy that was trying to come out. And in my mind, it was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I didn't know what was going to happen. Another guy was moving and shaking as I was like really releasing something heavy out of the body. And the men were really activated and purging. It's almost like ayahuasca. Not that I've ever done ayahuasca, but I've heard that, the medicine goes in there and releases. So the light language is almost like the same idea. It purifies. So I think if that answers the question, as to like working with men with this language, and I'm sure that sexuality in some cultures, or I don't know, maybe we're going back into that. I don't know. It's like, it definitely can enhance that, because it also releases energy.
If
But
I can,
I don't know if it's necessary, because the light language also does it. Just purifies the vessel.
can I ask you something?
Yes.
Did any of these men circle back like Jen with you?
Circle what?
Like circle back. Did they tell you, hey, it's been X weeks, this is the shift, this is what did they share
Immediately
with
the
you?
next day. The next day, all like 3 of them already contacted me. They felt lighter and better, and they definitely want to do another circle. And
Did they know what was going on? Did any of them say, like the hisser, did he say I released something? Or
I don't think they understand it like I do.
okay.
I don't know. That guy, I'm not sure what he was thinking. I know when I know when I see an energy wanting to release, what that looks like.
Yeah.
And I'm not
They-
sure if they are aware of it, but I know that they all said that they felt a lot lighter, and like they were blown away by the intensity of the work that happened immediately.
yeah.
And I was supposed to do one yesterday, and I didn't do another.
That's a lot. Also, it's like let's say if you liken it to Aya and things are released. What I noticed is if you don't know who it is that you are with, some of these people are toxic. Some of these people are disembodied, and things are releasing. Like I told myself after my last Aya ceremony, which was ironically in Corona, California in 2019, I'm not doing this again. These people are not prepping their vessel. And I personally, I want as an empath to guard myself. That's why I probably asked you the first time what it is, what are you doing to not hold on to this, whether because a lot of healers are gain weight, it could be physical, they get pains, and so that's why it's amazing that you were displayed courage to walk into that, because like you said, you didn't know, you can't know what people are releasing, they don't even know.
I feel like that the masculine really needs help. Like, I really think that's one of my biggest missions here. Also, my history, the way I grew up, my dad was like, I don't know if I want to say this live, but my dad was, player and liar and cheater. And so that was my childhood wounding. And then growing up with that, I really think it's so important to shift that in the collective of the masculine. I'm willing to do the dirty work. You want to call it spiritual prostitution, fine, but it's not sexual. It's definitely just light. And yes, I was bedridden for 2 days after this activation, and it was my first time doing it. So definitely learning as I go. And I think I shared in the last session that I had female entities released from my vessel, and that was the first time that's ever happened. I was like, wow. I was blown away by like the science of it, but also it was uncomfortable, but I can release it. I have the gift that I can release it. And the way I release it for me, because I'm open and I'm an open channel, is on my yoga mat, and I command the energy out and it goes out. It can take longer. It can take a few hours. It depends what's in my vessel. But the Kundalini is the purifier, and all I have to do is connect and command it to do that.
What else comes to me is that I find that to be able to release sexual energy in a non-sexual purified way, because whether I'm generalizing that Americans or the American, it's like, I'm gonna just lose my chi, it's gonna last 5 minutes. This is a retraining. My girlfriend is a tantrika, and she says, even like training the man, like if you're going to masturbate, don't just keep using your right hand or use your non-dominant hand, because then you get like, I have to be stroked or touched this specific way, as opposed to I'm engaging in a sacred act and we're just playing with energy, we're dancing with each other and our bodies, and we can heal different ways. So I think it's like a retraining and just being that sacred pure force of, let's say, the Mary Magdalene, or maybe Mary Magdalene's not a right person to, I don't know who you resonate, but it's needed, this sacredness. And that's why I feel like I'm very sensual personally and sexual, but I'm not able to just have sex and let anyone inside of me. It's not because I'm a prude, it's because I can't afford managing all these different energies, and have realized that we hold sex like you said, if I can just give an example, I was going out on trying to date years ago, and it was a bisexual man. He was beautiful, a wise man, but I'm like, is this what, like, we met at Runyon and I'm meeting with him and his boyfriend. I'm like, this is what it takes now. I have to meet, this is the new age. I'm meeting you and your lover. And then he was in an open relationship. And then that person was married. And it's like, I'm going to have sex with all of you. No, thanks. Not interested. Not interested. So but all that to say is, like, you're retraining, bringing beauty and purity to something that's been sullied.
Okay, there's a little bit of an echo, but I think we're back. My connection is still a little bit off here. I've been trying to work it while you guys were talking here, but I have two questions for you. So first of all, again here, we mentioned this in the first show, but I think it bears repeating. You guys are still having issues with the word prostitute. You understand, it's been thwarted, it's been degraded, it's been distorted in our view. The original meaning of it meant standing before the altar. So you were talking about a high priestess. You're not talking about a girl in the streets. It's completely the opposite, but that's what we think of today when we hear that word. So that's the first thing. We want to share that with the audience. And two, Shauna is saying, yes, masculine needs a lot of help. And in the last show, just as we were ending the show, I said that, yes, we are needing now a rebalancing of both of the divine feminine and masculine energies on the planet. And right now we have this wounded male patriarchy running the show. And in order to heal them, in many cases, especially the high trauma ones, especially the ones in the bloodlines that have been inculcated in all of this trauma, for them to be healed and reactivated or rebalanced, they absolutely need that energy from an activated divine feminine, right? So they can't get to that alone. And this is, again, what those ancient stories were talking about, the sacred prostitute. It was these very, very high priestesses who could basically hard reboot some of these huge dysfunctional deprogramming or debalancing that were found in men, especially after times of war. Again, this is where, if you read that article I posted up, it'll speak to that. So it's a fascinating conversation because on one hand, a lot of people are saying, well, you guys are talking about sex. Actually, we're not talking about sex. We're talking about healing, and we're talking about divine union. And this is where, if we are going to heal this planet, we have to come a lot closer to that than we've ever been before. And all of the words that we use to try to communicate that have been programmed, have been, deconstructed in such a way to keep us in that energy extraction matrix. And this is what we're trying to get out of. And it's funny how I was trying to think that a few minutes ago, the connection went down. So I'm just like, okay. Every time I go into these subjects here on YouTube, we seem to have some issues. So perhaps this is going to be a third part of the show, and we could do it on the private server to really let loose on some of this language here. But May, you're lifting your hand. You have a question.
No, I wanted to say something. When you say divine union, I feel like people sometimes will correlate that to a relationship with someone else. And I want to just make it clear that divine union is the balance of the masculine and feminine within the one body, within the one self. It's the wholeness within. And only then, when you reach that wholeness within, you can be in divine union from the external. And when you reach that divine union from the external, then that vibration is so high that it helps balance the vortex and the energy field in the world and the Pachamama.
Perfectly said. Okay, awesome. I love the way you said that. And it's not just, okay, once you achieve balance in yourself, you can be in balance with somebody else or in divine union with somebody else. You are also in divine union with the planet, which is its own entity. And then, of course, with universe. That's the bigger picture here. We're all looking to reconnect to, call it what you want, source, God, whatever your domination is. Denomination here. Exactly. All right. Lori, thank you so much for that comment on the screen. I really appreciate that. Maryam, you wanted to chime in on that?
I wanted to ask, how do you, May, feel that there's a balance achieved? Is it by exploring? Like when I was growing up, I was very androgynous. I played with worms. I had car collections. I had to remind myself that I was a girl in this life. So how are you assessing? Because obviously there's toxic masculine and there's toxic feminine, and because of apps and social media, there's really help with communicating and union anyway. So how are you sussing out that, okay, I'm feeling balanced?
I think it's less about if you embody like the 3D concept of masculine and feminine, like, oh, I play with balls, or like, oh, that doesn't sound good. I play with a soccer ball, so that doesn't so that's like masculine, or I play with a Barbie and that's feminine. I think it's less about that and more about the balance of the plus and minus in the body on the
polarity
level.
of the energy inside the vessel.
Yes, because some women, yes, they embody like the masculine, and some men embody the feminine. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, the energetics of it to be balanced, positive and negative in the body as a frequency, as an energy. And the way to do that is healing work. It's energy work. It's the light language or theta healing, limiting beliefs. It's pretty, I think it comes down to clearing ancestral beliefs, clearing conditioning, that we were conditioned, but not just from our life right now, but from thousands of years back. I do also like clearings for 7 generations back and 7 generations forward, because also time is an illusion. We also have a future self and a past self, so we want to clear and bring everything to 0 point. Yeah, and I think it's on an energetic level, and it's really just clearing, doing a lot of clearing work, and just 0 point is where we want to be. 0 point is the balance of the masculine and the feminine. And when you're feeling balanced and aligned, and when you stop getting triggered, that's a really good indication that you're in 0 point. When nothing triggers you anymore.
If you listen to the work of Jean-Claude Melchizedek, also, when you reach that 0 point and you manifest, you're manifesting at the highest intention for everyone. Whereas when you're manifesting from one polarity or the other, you are manifesting duality. And so even though you might be manifesting something absolutely positive for yourself, by the very fact that you are not in the 0 point when you're manifesting, you are also manifesting the counterpart, which eventually will go around and smack you right back in the face. So this is also a very important
and you're
topic.
Not in 0 point.
What's that?
And then you're triggered and you're not in 0 point.
Right, exactly.
Go back to the healer. Go back to your yoga mat. Breath.
Well,
just keep going.
If I can add to that too, that in your activation, we did a prayer also, because all the answers are within, and having, let's say, getting addicted to calling an intuitive, or getting cards, or going to AA for people, it becomes another addiction. Now you're addicted to AA. So it's this balance, because you really need, let's say it's a coach or a facilitator. We need someone to help, whether it's you doing spiritual work, or anyway, the person is facilitating, but there has to be a balance also, without relying too much for this person for answers. You have you have it within you, the infinite, the magic within you, and nobody can speak for you in the end, because some things you don't know how you know them. But if you can learn to hear that language of your higher self, or your physical body, or whatever is trying to speak to you. So
my biggest answer to that, to like how to incorporate yourself, how I awakened and found my inner power, is meditation. That is the key. Like, if you want to really do the work, not go to another healer, not a facilitator, not just sit in front of a mirror. I have a mirror in front of my altar. Look at yourself.
You have
and just
everything
sit
you
there.
need.
Yeah, and just learn. And it takes time, and another layer, and another layer, and then another layer, and you'll get bored and get irritated, and then another layer, and then, it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, and you can't sit there with I'm wanting something. You can't sit there with like, oh, I want this, so I'm going to sit here to get it, because that's not how you're going to get it.
right.
Because that's an ego base. You just have to sit there with your heart and just surrender to your everything, to your thoughts, to yourself, anything that wants to come through. It's not like people think meditation is to forget, like to not think, but that's not the case. You just observe. You learn to observe your thoughts and not put any emotion to them. And just if you do observe, like I think Osho talks about how it's like clouds, and when a cloud goes by, then you kind of witness it. You don't really give it any emotion. Then you wait for another cloud to go by. That's the same thing with your thoughts. And you just sit there and you allow the thoughts to go, the clouds to go. And if you do have a thought with an emotion and you catch yourself, that's where you breathe into that. And then you let that go. So it's like a dance that happens between awareness of a thought and then letting go of it, and awareness of a thought and letting go of it.
And truly, in the end, it's like we discussed when we were on the phone, it's mastery. We were talking as women, to not allow the emotions to get better of us and dictate. So it's really mastery of the self.
Yeah, mastery of emotions. Emotions are not bad. They're meant to be in motion. So they're meant to be expressed, but the question, how do you express them? They are meant to be shared. How do you share them? Are you sharing them from a place that's lower vibration, or are you sharing them from a place of taking self-responsibility and accountability for your feelings and sharing that with patience and like really listening to the other person? And I see a lot of, other dynamics with other people or in my life, or how I used to share and how I share today. And it's really just coming back to the heart and owning what you're feeling and not projecting. That is the biggest lesson I've learned.
So true. So true.
Ben Thompson is saying, hey, that's a big plug for JC's line. Yes. And so I love it because we're coming full circle. When I created this channel, my tagline was develop your spiritual superpower. Discover your spiritual superpower and develop self-mastery. So anyways, I love you guys. This is absolutely an amazing conversation. And we're getting a lot of love in the chat still. There's a few questions I'd like to address. The first one was from, oh mon Dieu, something Leblanc. Where are you? I think I just lost you. She was asking about, I think it's Nicole, but I could be wrong. She was asking May if she could translate the light language into English or words to that effect. So
not gonna happen.
Right. So let's address that a little bit here, because for some people, they're thinking in that perspective as opposed to understanding that the light language has codes in and of itself, and they're not being translated in any of our earth languages, but they are activations for a lot of our DNA. Speak to that a little bit, May.
What comes to mind is like, how when you're in the hospital, there's like a monitor that goes ding, ding, ding. It's like a frequency that happens, but it's not trying to say anything. It's just showing you. It's a resonance of a frequency that's showing the heart. So I don't know why that came up to my mind, because I don't feel like light language currently. Maybe in the future, I'll get words for it. I'm not getting them right now. I hear myself echo.
Yeah, me too. All of a sudden.
Could be my connection. I'll mute myself. Keep going.
Yeah, so sound has a vibration, and sound has the ability to heal. And sound can also have the ability to make you sick. It can go both ways. What's that Japanese doctor's name? Oshimoto. I'm saying it wrong for sure. Do you know?
Yeah, with the water studies. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great example, because he took little drops of water and he spoke to it and said, "I love you. You're beautiful. You're kind." Said really beautiful words to it, and then it created really beautiful shapes of like crystal, like it almost looks like snowflakes. And then he took water and said, "You're ugly. I hate you." Blah blah blah. And then it became really, really ugly, distorted. Oh, thank you. Distorted, like it almost didn't have a shape to it. So that's sound. Our words are sounds, and they have vibrations. And so that's why also light language taught me how important it is to be kind with our words to ourselves. Because it's like casting a spell. Every time we're saying, "Oh my God, why did I do that? Oh, I hate myself. Oh, I'm too fat. Oh, I'm too skinny. Oh, I'm too," everybody has their own like thing they share to themselves. They're just casting spells on their own frequency. And when you start being kind to yourself and kind to others, we can just heal ourselves through our words. So is the same thing as light language. Light language currently for me, and this might change in the future because we're evolving and changing, but currently I see it as a frequency, a coded language that is given by spirit in order to purify, and you don't have to understand what's coming through. Your soul understands, your cells understand, your body, your vessel knows, it hears, and it's reacting to the sound and doing what it needs to do.
Well, think about it. We're 70%, maybe more water. We're basically water sacs here. And so if water is responding, look at the frequency there between the polluted water, the structure of it, versus the clean stream water. So if your frequency is high, then ostensibly you look like this and you can hold a much higher charge. So it's all about that. Yeah, go ahead, Maryam.
And we're also sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mimi.
We're also 70% water. So the earth is 70% water, but so are human beings. We're like little earthlings walking around, just mimicking the earth. And so
I thought I just said that.
Oh, you said it like that? Okay. I thought you just said that the earth is
maybe I broke up.
No, yeah, it's
yeah, we're walking sacks of water. Yeah.
Okay. Well, never mind.
Okay, we're on the same page. No, I love it. We're absolutely on the same page. And I apologize, folks, for all the technical difficulties, and we don't mean to speak over each other, but there's a weird connection here tonight. I'm not sure what's happening. Okay, we're a little bit over an hour into it. Somebody else was asking you, May, what time zones do you work in? They're trying to work out booking a session with you. So I'm not sure if you can share with the audience how your booking form works.
I'm in California, so I believe that's Pacific Standard Time. That will solve all the emails right now. So yeah, California. So right now, what time is it here? Mimi, do you have a time?
It's 6:20.
6:20.
6:20. So whatever your time zone is right now, look at the difference, and then I'll help. You can also Google. I started looking. If the time is in California this time, what time is it in Denmark? So just you can even Google and figure that out really quickly.
Okay, very good. Perhaps you could change the app you're using in your booking appointments that will show the different time zones. There's an app for that, probably. Are you on Wix or on?
Are you using Calendly?
I am on Wix.
On Wix?
Sorry, on Wix, and I really need some help. I'm not logistically the best. I'm okay. I'm casting a spell, but I'm just saying I'm challenged.
You need help, so you're calling the universe for help.
I need some assistance. So any secretary or anybody that's really good out there with this kind of stuff, hit me up. I need the help.
All right.
I wanted to say something about the light language that I feel before we went on last week, that there's going to be someone out there, I don't know who they are, that will be able to tell you some of the meanings. They don't have to, I guess, translate it into English. It's its own thing. But I just felt that there are others that could maybe decipher some of the codes. Of course, it's all up to interpretation when it's art. But I feel that some of the codes are like you do like a Kundalini, that coach, whatever I forget. You do swirlings. So I feel that there's something, there are portals. Anyway, I just feel like there's someone out there that can
read the frequencies. Somebody that understands how to read quantum physics would be really awesome to call in. I actually can show there. It's
we lost May. May, come back. I think she lost her cell phone connection, or maybe the battery's dead. Okay, hopefully she comes back.
These look like runes, for instance.
And to me, it looks like music. So
right.
I have an ear for music. I always could pick up instruments and start playing them without reading notes as a kid. And when I look at this, it looks like music to me. It feels like music to me when I see May's drawings. Okay, May's back in the. Hopefully, I can bring him back up. There you go.
If you go to my logo on Lightscribe Art, I have a bunch of these like frequencies that in the beginning of my path, they came out. My art looked like this. It looked like patterns and almost like what do you call it, like molecules. And I can bring it for the next show if you want. I can bring it to show people because it's not on my show yet, on my Instagram yet. But when I finished like making them, also with the other art, I would get an explanation of what it does and what frequencies. But I also channeled a pattern, and that the explanation I got that was free energy. But I'm like, I'm looking at something and I don't know how to read it, so I can't make free energy out of it, right? Because it is
free energy.
But if somebody can decode it and know how to read it, I have, some. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it on the show.
That looked like an antenna, and it looks like by the sheer definition of tapping into that would give you more energy.
Well, I'm going to tell you what that looks like too. Let's see if I can find something here. You're going to be blown away.
Me? Okay. I like to be blown away.
All of us.
Let me see if I can find something here. It's a word that's used for some researchers. Scanning now, kind of. Okay, so let me. So the term is Antiqua Tech, and there are a lot of monuments around the planet, especially those that seem to pertain to old Tartaria, that had very, very similar apparatus on the roofs, and basically they were to collect energy. And so a lot of that was funneling down through the house to bring electricity, to bring heat. There's some pictures here, and I'm
Wow.
trying to find them. This is similar here, but
Yeah,
there
I
was
looked
one
at
in
that one
particular.
too. Can you click on that one? Can we look
Which
at that
one?
The one, the
The-
tower.
This one, yeah. Not the best example I'm looking
No?
for. No, I didn't know we're going to go there. I would have researched. These are harder to find. This guy, John Levy, has a great channel too. He talks a lot about that. And there's this other guy,
Really?
Martin.
What is it called?
Oh, they're
Tartaria.
calling it Antiquity
Okay.
Technology. Antiqua Tech is the term that these researchers are using. And it's funny that in old pictures, you can still see them in San Francisco, for example, 120,
Yes.
in the first photographies. And then 20 years later, it's all been removed from the rooftop. And everybody's like, okay, we
Yes.
still have the structure, the foundations of the buildings that are maybe still channeling or conduits for the energy, but whatever the receiving antennas were from the ether, and this goes into the Tesla technology and all that stuff. But anyways, we should probably get maybe.
Can I say something?
I
Go
can show
ahead.
some charts. I don't mind showing it. I just don't like, is it okay to put it on YouTube? I mean, I don't know. I would like to find, I always said I wanted to make a book out of it. I was creating these and made vectors out of it so I can put it in a book. So the purpose was A, to put it out there because it's cool, but 2 was to find people that can decode it and use it and utilize it for free energy or to do something with it, to actually find people that can read it.
Well, definitely we have to share this with some of those researchers because they might look at that and say, "Oh, actually, yes,"
Yeah.
and they might have a catalog of some of these Antiqua Tech devices
Yes.
that might match your thing. And like, look, you just took a picture, or basically drew a picture of this thing
Right.
that's a couple hundred years old, unbeknownst to you at the time. So that would be a fascinating show.
Yeah, I really feel that there's someone out there that I don't know who they are. I want to say, when you said Tartaria, my friend Sky, who's been wanting to do a channel but is shy, is obsessed with Tartaria and knows all these Tartarian buildings. So he lives here. When he'd pick me up, he'd tell me, like, this church is Tartaria. Look at this geometry. Look at this. And he knows, and they were replaced with Masonic buildings.
Right.
Isn't the White
NSF.
House also has a pattern on them above it? They have like some kind of, I believe the White House also has something on the top of it with the frequency, but
It could
Wow.
be. I don't think the White House is Tartarian in terms of its architecture. It's more Greek or Roman. But at any rate, we still have a lot of buildings. Well, here's the thing. Whose show was this on? I think it was with Jay Weidner. We were talking about all those fires in North America, and it happened very quickly across the country. And a lot of these buildings succumbed to exactly that. So it's like it was a strategic demolition plan to remove all of that history here in North America.
Yeah.
This is a
Yeah.
deep topic, guys. But as soon as you brought up that imagery, let me bring that back up.
Well,
I'm like,
even having
oh,
this
that looks a lot like
discussion.
something would be on the top of a
I
building.
have hundreds of those in
Wow.
writing. I just download them so quickly. I put them in vectors to make them look a lot nicer, but in charts, in the hundreds. And I get tired, so I don't make more, but they just come out. Again, there's just so
Right.
many.
Really?
Yeah,
And,
so many.
There's a race here. Yes, Tarot by Janine. Janine and I, on the last Monday show on our pay-per-view, we were talking about something else, and we got into Tartaria. And I'm like, we should do a whole show on that.
This
And she said,
guy's an
"Yeah,
expert.
absolutely."
He can tell you whatever you want. He's
Oh.
obsessed.
I would
Well,
love that.
Let's
was
get him
just
on the
gonna
next
ask-
Quantum Woo.
Well, he was on my list, but also, have you done UJC a show on Tartaria before?
I've done a show on these cataclysmic resets and how they've removed Tartaria from our history, but I haven't gone down the path of looking at the architecture. And there's quite a few guys out there doing that right now, which I'd love to get on the show because they have this amazing library of buildings that you look at and you're like, wow. And this was in North America 400 years ago when everybody was in horse and buggy. What are you guys talking about, right? So there's a lot there. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell him because like even when we were in Florida, he was showing buildings. He's like I said, obsessed, and he traveled across the country, and he can point them out right away and can tell you. I still don't understand who the F is. What are these Tartarians? It sounds like a Game of Thrones family.
Well, it's on old maps. So let me again. We're doing a whole Tartaria show here, but just for the fun of it here. Oh, hold on a second.
It's no accident that I know this guy and he's been wanting to do something.
That's amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
It could be a really cool. Wow.
Absolutely.
This is fascinating. This is exactly what I also wanted to call in people that understand the quantum world and this stuff. And
well, if you look at this particular map, this is a Mercator map, and this is from 1771. And if you look at Russia there, it's called Grand. This is a French map, but Great Tartaria basically is the translation there. But this empire stretched around the world. The further back you go in some of these maps, there are remnants of Tartaria in North America, in Latin America. It's
Tartaria.
Incredible. They were a world civilization. And so even after World War II, they had representation. And some of these documents were declassified a couple years ago that showed that, there was an attempt to remove whoever these people were from the narrative after World War II. So there's a lot there, folks. It's a whole other show. Absolutely amazing. Okay. Man. We can go on for hours, but man, okay. May, so let's go back to here, and I'll finish with MARYAM here too, because MARYAM has an amazing new product offering for you guys as well. So May, I think we've addressed the time zone issues for the audience. Somebody else was asking a few minutes ago, is there a code? So do you have a coupon code still valid for your booking sessions?
It's the same one I gave you. I think it was BeyondMystic.
Okay.
But also, if it's not available in the actual website, just send me a little note and I'll accept it.
Okay. And so for people who are asking now, because a few people are saying, hey, I want to book a session. When is the next available date on your calendar as it stands right now?
There's a few more spots in September.
Okay.
Just take a look, and October is open.
Okay.
And can I share about my pricing? It's going to shift just a little bit.
Sure, go ahead.
Currently, up until now, I've been charging $144 for almost 2 hours of a session, and because of high demand, and I can only do so much a day. It's been taking a lot of energy for me. I'm just a little bit more. It's going to be $222 for the 2 hours. There will be package deals that I'll put them online, and I'll start that in a few days. So you have let's say, what's today? The 19th? Today's the 19th. Right. Let's say on the 24th. Until the 24th, if you book until the 24th, it'll be $144. After the 24th, it'll be $222. So you'll have some time to book it for that $144 amount.
Okay. So there you go, folks. You heard it. If you want that deal, the coupon code and the old price, please go check it out at deepintuitivehealing.com. Of course, the links are in the description box below. Now, I'm really, really excited about this one as well. MARYAM is also stepping into her power as the shamanic goddess and divine feminine that she is. And of course, she has an extensive background as a functional medicine consultant. And MARYAM, explain to the audience here how you can help them.
So I wasn't doing consulting and coaching, and as my business partner told me years ago, that it's time to just focus on helping people one-to-one. And I was like, but I'm a journalist by default. I blow the whistle. It's inherently what I do is blow the whistle. In any case, I did do this certification so that I can help people, given that I've reversed lupus and fibromyalgia, that I've been hit by an SUV and dragged 50 feet and had to learn how to walk again, and had a metal rod that was 13 inches in my femur, which that incident really broke me open. And I mean, I haven't shared that, I used to do tarot for people, and I took a tarot class at the Psychic Eye, and I used to work with ruins. And so I wanted to kind of, with the inspiration of May doing clearing, to step back into, but to teach body talk. So just for people who don't know what functional medicine is, Western medicine is very myopic and compartmentalized. So they will not take a look or consider the marriage of all the organs, and they will just stick to the urologist, to the ear, nose specialist, blah, blah, blah. So with functional medicine, and this is the way we learn, unfortunately, to stretch our spirit and grow, is through physical discomfort, dis-ease. There's no shortage of that. Sure, weight is one of it. I used to be a chubster and, thrown on the ice and told I was a tub of lard and a fatso. But I do have a fatobia. Like, I'm a fattest. I don't like fat. I don't think it's necessary. And I feel that it's significant of something else. And I'm more than happy to teach people. A lot of times, if there is a chronic illness, the weight is not what we focus on. It's really shifting. And so the coaching is all about being your cheerleader. And I'm going to put in a component of that. You can ask a question. Oh, yeah, I've also studied metabolics. We have metabolites, and there's 5,000 of them, and everything works in concert. So if you're like lacking melatonin, you need HTP, and something might be happening in that cascade. You might have genetic SNPs. In any case, it's very thorough, and I work with a practitioner. I am not a doctor. And I'll give you an example. So just, if I may, with body talk, let's say, like, I'll give you two examples. One is like my eyes were hurting, right? And I don't get headaches. And I just sat with myself. I'm like, why the hell are my eyes? Why is my head hurting? And so I just got quiet, and it's my contacts. And then I went and searched, and I looked at the patterns. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't have a headache yesterday. I didn't wear the contacts. Then I went and I did a search, and yeah, sure enough, contacts give you. And this is like the first time, I joke, that I've seen my face in like 3.5 years. But it's things like that. Another thing of using intuition to help you. I had a customer who was trying to buy CBD, and then she said, oh, my daughter wants to have a consult with you, and she has an autoimmune condition, and she is not having neurological issues. And right away, just what came to me is like, is there smart meters in her bedroom, near her bedroom? Oh, wow, there's a whole row of smart meters behind the door. So, I wouldn't, up until recently, realize, like, I'm using my superpowers. This is like, it comes naturally to me, or not so natural, but it comes to me, and I'm not acknowledging that it's a different sense beyond that I'm using. So I want to mix it all together. I'm going to be using this deck, which is Archetype Deck. And
can you bring it up to the screen for the audience?
Well, okay. Yeah, I think it's better if I open it up. That what did I pick? The Storm. So these are just beautiful cards, and it's it's looking at the archetypes. I'll have, when I dig up my other cards, give a choice, but I'm going to do a variation where someone can just ask a question. I mean, I'm very generous with my time in that it's a 22-page intake form, but if we can frame it, if I can invite the person to frame it, is what is this ailment inviting you to change in your life from a spiritual point of view? How can you make lasting changes? And more so with anybody that's doing work, let's say you do an Aya ceremony, oftentimes there's no integration. You have this amazing experience, and maybe it lasts for a few weeks, and then you're back to your crappy habits, or it's not embodied inside of you somehow. So there to make these lasting changes, because your body is your temple. There's a lot of spiritual healers that I've seen in the past that eat like crap, and they're not walking their talk. And so it's about walking your talk and realizing this is my temple. And if you've been in chronic pain like I've been, and you've been or a chubster, whatever, like I want to make this temple, and so I'm a food Nazi. I will not drink. I will not do it just because everyone else does. And I can help you make. Why are you not making those lasting changes? Do you need to cultivate more love? Do you have an addiction to sugar? Is there past life? I don't know what will come up. So
Very good.
thank you. If you want to,
I
Violet
wanna
is asking,
add-
does Maryam teach this?
Maryam,
Answer her question, Maryam.
I want to share that when I visited Maryam, then she told me, like, she just gave me an example of how she eats, and I definitely gained weight like in the past year or two, and I've been incorporating it in the past week. She just showed an example of just, you know, being yourself, and I feel my brain feels so clear. My body feels so much lighter. I have so much more energy, and I'm so grateful. Just like, I really recommend just being around her. Did that, activated me.
And Zach, we cooked for May, and I think like what I do from a nutritional point of view, the first thing I do is one of the first is ask for 3 days of food, and I just upgrade. For instance, I'm going to be going to the Bulletproof covering, going back into this beautiful world of functional medicine, which is the future of medicine, and where we look at, you know, if I were to sit down, I'd even look like, were you vaginally born? Were you breastfed? What did your parents go through? Do a total timeline to look at how you got here, whatever you're dealing with. Yeah, so this is the page, and there's a video that I realized today is deleted because my channel was deleted. So we can scroll down a little.
Okay.
And thank you, Jean-Claude. Okay, we can stop at the testimonial.
Which one? Hold on.
So my expertise is autoimmune. It's such a grave issue, and also mold. Mold is the great imitator, and so many times you don't know what the hell's going on with you, and guess what? It's mold, and it's invisible, and it's deadly. So just really sitting, depending on what it is that you want to deal with. But I'm going to
How can you detect mold in your body? Do you do a test?
Yeah, I did a test. I did investigate. I'm using my investigative skills, but I'll give you an example. My friend, I won't say her name, but she's a brilliant journalist, and her mind is like, she's having severe memory issues. And so first I have an EMF. We checked, there's a lot of electromagnetic crap, but more so, I said, dude, do you have any mold in your house? And she found that where she sits, the glass window is full of mold. It's right in her face. I'm dealing with it now, and it's devastating because it will impact you in different ways. You can be crippled by it. And yes, I was able, in my case, last 2 years ago, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was doing a mold, a summit, like in depth. And I was like, oh my God, that's what. So there's different things we can do to assess. And I start with a cheaper version, and then we upgrade. Yeah.
Very good.
Super interesting.
I'm just adding now to the description box below this video. So for folks, I've put the link in the live chat here a couple of times for Maryam's booking page, but I've now also added it to the links here in the description box below the video. So if you're watching this on replay, just click on that link and you'll find both Maryam's link and also May as links as well. Okay, and Maryam, do you have a coupon code as well for that?
BeyondMystic.
Oh, the same. Okay.
You offer my other goods, which are all made in America from a biohacking functional medicine point of view. Everything on my site is I use it. I vet it. I don't put crap. I don't use products made in whatever country. It's made in America, and it's quality. My friend says, like, your quality, Maryam, your quality. Yeah, quality is important. We don't want to chintz out. And there's different things you can do to honor and eat for you. It's not about dogma. It's not about veganism galore, dogmatic. You have to eat for your condition, for your body, and honor your temple. The only thing I ask is you eat clean.
Yeah, absolutely. Mimi is asking, was our YouTube channel deleted? Yes, 2 of them, like me. Or I think Mariam and I are both on our 3rd YouTube channel. That speaks to a lot of the censorship, of course. And so, folks, if you can find it in your heart to support these 2 beautiful and amazingly talented women here, please do so. Again, all the links are in the description box below. And last words of wisdom, I'll start with you, Mariam, since you're on the screen. What do you want to share with the audience here before we go tonight? And perhaps as a precursor to next week's show.
Well, I already texted the Tartarian man. I am heading to Michigan tomorrow for a Health Freedom Expo to hang out with others. So I'm sure I'll see Mel K, and I think I'll see Dr. Carrie Madej and others. And yeah, I'll be covering. I'm just sorry, I'm sharing things that are on my radar. I interviewed, if I can share, I did a 4-hour interview with this independent investigator in regards to my George Floyd book. And this man is an expert on false flags, and it was fascinating, the characteristics. So I'll be sharing that, not on YouTube, his entire channel. He's completely attacked. And yeah, and so I'll be going to functional medicine. I'm getting ready to leave for my trip. And yeah, thank you.
Awesome, very good. And Violet says, wow, I can use this help. Okay, Violet. So you know where to find Mariam now. The links are in the description box below. Okay, and how about you, May? Let's talk about some frequency or energy or intention setting for next week. What would you like to share with the audience, or what would you like to have them help us concentrate here on creating that new earth that we all want for each other?
Oh, I need to tune into that. The question, can you say it one more time? What do I want?
Right. And how can the audience help you and us collectively help each other out in creating the new earth that we want? What frequency would you propose for the audience here to hold maybe for the next 7 days until we meet again next week?
Really sit with yourself. Get to know who you are. I would say like the next week, practice homework. It is work to get to know who you are, because you have to spend time to do it. And it's the best investment that you're going to ever give yourself, is sit with yourself. Start with 3 minutes a day. If you like it, sit 5 minutes a day. And then if you like that, just keep going. And you can do sitting in front of a mirror, like mirror practice. And it starts with the baby steps. It's just the little steps. Now, if you're already meditating, you can start breath work. If you're already doing breath work, just start doing things to really connect with your being. If you've never taken a yoga class, I really recommend to go move your body. Go walk barefoot in nature. Yeah, drink more water. It comes to the simplicity of the things. Yeah.
I love it.
Also, if you don't like meditating and you find yourself like irritated, what really helped me was binaural beats, and you can find so many of them on YouTube, and you can find different binaural beats for different things, just like opening the heart chakra, opening your psychic abilities, or cleansing your body from negative energies. You can go online and just look them up, and you can put earphones and just sit with that, and it's very activating. I think that would be a good thing, little baby steps, and then see how people feel when they come back next week.
Okay, sounds good. Mariam, you had more to add?
If I can just add, what I did to help with the meditation is I offer Muse. So if people that are very connected digitally, whatever. So I strap on I'll be premiering it because they just upgraded, and I'm going to meet them at Bulletproof, but it goes with an app, and you'll do a guided meditation, and then it can work you up. And then afterwards you get to see what your brain looks like, because as a biohacker, you can actually do an exercise. So if you need that, that's also a tool. It's fun and it's interactive. And then I would also say, get a journal and start journaling.
Gratitude journal. The gratitude journal would be a good step to just focusing on what you have and not what you don't have. Focusing what is going on well in your life, instead of, if you want something to happen in your life, focus on the good. It's really important to point out that if you want more of the negative, yes, talk about negative stuff. You're just going to attract it. If you want more of the good, gratitude. What do you have? What are you grateful for? The more you do that, if you do that for 31 days, you'll see miracles start to happen in your life.
Yeah.
I was with this medicine woman who was talking to me or explaining how they do the rain dance. And somebody was asking her, "Oh, are you asking for rain?" And she says, "No, I'm just in gratitude for the rain that I've already received." And then universe provides, right? So what May is saying there is absolutely
what you
absolutely
focus on, you find.
Yeah, very good.
And the other question was about what I would like to see in the next show. I think that I'm really fascinated. Maybe I can show some of my frequency art, the ones that looks like crop circles, or maybe the chart of the free energy, and maybe bring a guest on the show, somebody who may be able to read it and have that be the, I mean, it would be so cool to put it out there and maybe have people that can like, oh, I know what that means.
That's
I
awesome.
think that exists. That is possible. That will happen.
I really would like to tap into that.
That's it. Oh, man, I'm having trouble finding my voice tonight. I'm overwhelmed by all of your energies, folks, tonight, and mostly by the two women on the screen. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Please tune in next Thursday at 8 o'clock for the next Quantum Woo episode. We'll see if we can do some Tartaria research there, but we have many, many other topics, Maryam and I, to discuss. And also join us next week, or actually on August 24th at 8 p.m. for May's inaugural show here also on our Beyond Mystic channel. I'm very excited about that, and I'll bring up the poster for you guys there, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So check that out, guys.
Dude.
Yeah. I can't wait for that as well. I love the picture too. I love the face. It's like, yeah, I'm a warrior. Bring it on. That's what you're saying to me right there. So I love that.
Cute.
All right, folks, please remember to like, share, and subscribe here. And please, again, go and support our guests here at honeycolony.com. You'll find there the booking session for Maryam's functional medicine consulting sessions. And you can also find, of course, May's work here at deepintuitivehealing.com. That was, of course, part 2 of the Quantum Woo with Maryam Henein and May Levy. Thank you so much, everyone. Merci beaucoup, Maryam, and merci beaucoup, May, and have a great week, everyone.
Merci beaucoup.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Wow.